What's up, y'all? How you doing tonight? It is super duper hot here in South Florida. No storms, but humidity is maxed out. We got a beautiful, almost 50% waxing crescent, or first quarter, conjoined by Antares and Jupiter, both of which look clear. Saturn coming up also in the southeast. Let's say what's up to the chat room. Corey Connolly, what's going on? Kimberly, how are ya? Hearts and hearts. Starlight, same to you. And Catsy and Dagger Spells and whoever else. Mitch Berger, what's going on? Where's my scope pitched? In South Florida. Tampa. Air you can wear. Yeah, it feels like that. There's just nowhere to get cool. I got the AC going and the fan, and it's not really helping. But we're gonna have some awesome views, and I put together a playlist with a few of the lunar wave phenomena, and with 2 videos in there that actually seem to be, so far to me, the best explanation for what this is. And to not beat around the bush, it looks like it's a sonic boom. So this double shockwave. We'll see if Shockwave joins us tonight, but it's literally like a sonic shockwave boom that creates these types of effects. And in this list of videos, I linked to 2 different. I'm not the one who figured this out, by the way. I just looked it up. Apparently some guy did a video, 4020, and there's almost no views on it and no subscribers and like 3 comments, but he really shows a high-speed camera taking film or footage of an explosion going off, and it captures almost exactly the same effect as the shock waves come off, or the sonic boom waves come off this explosion. And then I found this Smarter Everyday video, which has like a couple million views or something on it. And they do a test where they do high-speed footage of a bullet, and the bullet leaves this toroidal path, but then they have other kind of shock waves or sonic waves that follow up with the bullet, and it looks just like the lunar wave, like exactly. So I don't know if that's it, but it's the closest I've gotten to understanding it. What's happening 24/7? That was a little birdie passing us by. So I'm just gonna give you all this playlist. It's got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different lunar waves, or 10 different lunar waves, from Crow to Diversity J to like They Lie, Richard, Rethink Everything, John McKeon, and Chris Parker. All of these are different waves that will allow you to debunk the camera answer and the airplane trail. Although the sonic boom could be from a very fast aircraft, but basically rule out, regular airplanes, and can rule out cameras. But you can also see this guy, 2040, explaining I looked up lunar wave, and that's what it's like, an 8-second video, but it's pretty accurate. And then shockwave shadows in ultra slow motion from Smarter Everyday. So here's the playlist coming at ya. You let me know what you think, but I think this is the closest I've come to figuring it out, or this guy's come to figure, me basically stealing somebody else's figuring it out. But I'm glad I looked it up. It took me a lot of years to finally find this video. I've looked it up a bunch of times. I've never seen this one, so maybe it's just serendipitous. So let me know if that playlist works for you. It's a series of videos, and then at the bottom, it's the ballistic test, and then the shockwave video. And so my postulation is such that I guess they're either high altitude aircraft like supersonic jets creating a sonic boom, so breaking the sound barrier, and then people seeing this double sonic boom pass in front of the moon or Saturn or Jupiter. The other thing is it could be rockets, rocket tests or missile tests, doing the same thing, breaking the sound barrier as they take off. And then the third option, I think, is meteorites or asteroids hitting Earth's magnetosphere and also breaking the sound barrier and creating the same sort of effect. So it's either rockets, meteors, asteroids, or supersonic jets. Seems to be the three kind of leading causes. And I'm not sure about supersonic jets because I feel like at the altitude they fly, even though it's pretty high up, you'd actually hear that sonic boom. So I feel it's more due to probably like either rocket launches, missile tests, or stuff we don't know about causing the same sort of effect. But yeah. So lunar waves for me right now seem to be sonic booms. Until I think any differently, I'll let you all know. But so we got some moonage here. I still got my scribble on the moon possibilities. I'm gonna start practicing a little bit better so I can draw things. Let's see how that's running tonight. Okay. Whoa, okay. Scribbles for sure. I feel like I can't see my cursor. Give me a second to fiddle with this. Okay, let's see if this works a little better. There we go, much better. All right, always the first hexagon I notice. Mare Crisium right there. We got Mare Fecunditatis right here. Langrenus crater right on the edge. Mare Marginis and Mare Undarum. Theophilus. Let's see, is this Mare? I want to say this is Humorum, but I'm going to double check, or is it Mare Nectaris? Just pulling up my atlas. It's Mare Nectaris. All right. That was Mare Nectaris, and then you can see this very cool shape of Sea of Tranquility and Sea of Serenity. Oh damn, I can't draw that high up, unfortunately. It's just a weird artboard situation on MS Paint, but that's some of it. Scribble. I'll show you a quick kind of double lobe shape. So double lobed, you can see that in certain comets. Lots of stuff on the Thunderbolts project about double lobed shapes. Basically, it looks like a barbell or a dumbbell. But right here, you can see Sea of Serenity. And then Sea of Tranquility. But you can also see Sea of Tranquility and Mare Crisium also creating like an infinity sign. And then Sea of Serenity and Tranquility also creating an infinity sign. Basically, infinity sign is like a 2D representation of a torus. Whoa. Just trying to mess with this. Alright, so I'm just gonna do a couple of quick shots over here, rock on some tunes, and I'm gonna show the dark side, or the Earthshine portion of the moon, because we can really see that well tonight. And then I'm gonna go over to Jupiter and quickly check out Jupiter and Saturn and Taurus. So I'll be stepped away from the keyboard for a moment. Yo, what's up, Mary? Just in time. All right, so new tune. Let's do some tune. What's happening, Ryan, in North Carolina? Much love. How is the weather over there? Hope you're not getting battered too hard. I heard things are a bit rough. All right, like I said, I'm going to do a quick tour of the dark side, Jupiter and Taurus, Saturn. We'll be back at the moon in a couple. Cognitive Dissonance says, TBS, are you familiar with the ferrocell? I certainly am. If you check out one of my older videos, right around when Ken Wheeler started messing with it, I bought one and I did experiments with it. I have a first when I got my 4K camera, and I still have it in the closet. I just haven't messed with it in a while, but seeing Ken's recent videos, I might check it out again, because of his, the fact that he creates that kind of null magnetic zone between the two magnets, where you have mutual mass acceleration towards a null point where there is no magnet. I love that example. I don't think I've really seen that before. It makes you think about how like null zones might be created between the moon and Earth, for example, and that's where the gravitational pull is between the moon and Earth versus to each other. But a quick shout out. What's happening, 10th Man Rising? Welcome. I guess for everybody showing up, I was going to mention, if you didn't catch it, so I have some new ideas about the lunar wave, and I'm going to just post the link right here. The long and short of it is that I discovered a couple of videos, and I put together a playlist with 10 different lunar waves from different people all over the world and different cameras and stuff, so that you can debunk the camera hypothesis. And 2, you can debunk the airplane trail hypothesis because you can see the difference between the two. 3rd, at the bottom of the playlist, there are 2 videos. One is a video by 2040 called Explaining the Lunar Wave, and he basically came up with this idea, and it's a great idea. And then Shockwave Shadows in Ultra Slow Motion from Smarter Every Day. If you go to 2 minutes into that video, you'll see almost exactly what we see on the lunar wave after a bullet trail. So idea now is that I think things like the lunar wave, Saturn wave, and Jupiter wave are essentially sonic booms, shock waves. So either rockets, meteors, asteroids, or supersonic craft. But pretty large craft to create such a big sonic boom effect. It is cognitive. It's a great tool. I want to play with it some more, but yeah, check this out. This is like a lot of different things at once, but I gotta say, like looking at the 2 videos from Smarter Every Day, 2 minutes in, and 2040 doing the high speed of an explosion, casting a shockwave blast, makes a lot of sense here. So I'm gonna do a little tour and play some jams for y'all. Jams. Chimney jams. All right, what's up, everybody? What's up, Easy E and Cognitive Dissonance and anybody else joining? I was just saying, man, I hope I didn't come across snappy. It's just I stopped looking into conspiracies of like how things are going to end and how bad things are, simply because there's too much information to study in the positive world. So like plasma cosmology, EU, you know, whether or not you believe in that for me seems to be much more interesting and exciting. And then actually streaming this and making the show better and spending more time understanding what I'm presenting to y'all. I can't really spend the time looking into gematria, numerology, you know, incidences mapped out to ritualistic sacrifices, things like that. I know it totally exists. That's how the world works. It's recursive fractalism on the evil tip. But I'm trying to work on recursive fractalism towards the positive tip, which means, like, if you want to engage in that, there are lots of forums to do it. For me, I'm totally aware of it, and I appreciate the concern. But really, last thing I'm going to say of it is the vibe is just really not the same here. I would bring up those topics, but what's the point? If CERN wants to try and create black holes or do ritual Mayan dances and bring priests and have lizard parties, do I really care? I really don't. That's the truth. So that's the last I'm going to say of it. I really hope we can all be chill tonight, and I would hope that you can enjoy the company here and bring like a vibe and talk about the planets and just let's all be friendly. There's no need to stand out and like start things, you know, even though it's tempting. So I appreciate the questions and the comments. That's my thoughts on that. And we got a little Jupiter in view. And I feel like we might have red storm too, but this is still my wide shot. Let's see what the moon situation looks like. Callisto all the way to the left, Io to the left of Jupiter close, and then Ganymede is literally on the cusp of Jupiter. We should zoom in, and Europa to the right. I appreciate that, Cognitive. I'm giving you a fist bump on the mic. All right. Let's zoom in a little and see what's going on with Ganymede. It could be really cool with the red storm. And then we got some, I'll pull out a good track to go with it. Positiva, positiva, positiva. Okay, almost 9 o'clock, and it's going to be a great show. Let's do it. we got a little bit of Jupes, and it's pretty rare to get Ganymede on the cusp like that. But here's a particular incident, like I mentioned yesterday, where Stellarium is not matching up. So Stellarium has the red storm in view, but in real IRL, I'm not seeing any red storm. So that's just logged for the moment. Okay, all right. So yeah, this is the cam direct-to-scope. This is not the 3X yet, but definitely the image is not as sharp as I thought it would be, but it is going to be affected by the light of the moon, which is very close to the right. So if y'all are seeing the moon for real, right to the left of the moon tonight, you'll see Jupiter shining very brightly. And then in a triangular configuration between the two, to the bottom, you'll see Antares. And I can go to that for a second as well. And Saturn should be to your southeast, about 10 degrees. And yeah, send out like 24/7, says good energies to those still in Dorian's path, South Carolina, North Carolina, and of course the Bahamas, who have suffered just like incredibly unfairly, but maybe so fairly the Earth just does not discriminate in terms of natural disasters. That's sort of what I'm seeing. It's very interesting how you can really get closer to understanding your fate. I'm not going to start talking about that yet. Let's just skip that. But our fate is to live and see tonight through. How about that? I still hope we'll get the red storm. There's at least a few hours of Jupiter still high up. So let me know if you're just joining and you want me to recap the thoughts on the lunar wave, Saturn and Jupiter wave phenomenon, and or if you want the link again, maybe I'll just post it in case you missed it. So, let's see how to share this playlist. Shuffle, loop. There we go. What's going on, Prow? All right, so that's a link again to the playlist with 10 different lunar waves, or 11 even. And then at the bottom, there are two other videos. One's called Explaining Lunar Wave by 2040, which I think is a great video. And then Smarter Every Day at the 2-minute mark has, he doesn't really explain what he thinks it is, but the bullet basically in high speed creates these ripple effects. And I've never seen anything quite like it, but it looks exactly like the lunar wave. Yeah. And then explaining the lunar wave by 2040, he basically has a video of a high-speed explosion, and you see the sonic boom going off, and it creates the same sort of camera, or at least the effect that the camera picks up is almost identical to these wave videos. So check that out, and let me know what you think. Can't say 100%, but so far I'm going to take back my plasma shell theory, because I think this is much more likely. So it's either like asteroids, meteors coming into Earth, creating a sonic boom, it's missile tests creating a sonic boom going outwards, or it's high speed, like supersonic aircraft, things that we don't know that are creating like a double sonic boom. So that was a quick recap. Back to the tunes and jupes. What's happening, Light Moon? Back on the mic. On the mic. Back on the mic. Yo, what's happening, True Man Zoo? And anyone else joining? What's up, more Jello? More Jella? More Jello? Can't help it, sorry. I don't mean to make fun. Okay, I was gonna go to Saturn, but I figured let's check out the moon while it's still high up in the sky so we don't get chromatics. Jansen crater. I'm gonna start scribbling. So, scribbling and talking. The moon rose many hours ago. It's pretty much on its way to setting. It's nearly 50% illuminated. Actually, let me give you the exact. It is 49% illuminated and at 34 degrees altitude. Ellie Wynn, what's happening? Cactus Bolt. All right, little scribbles on areas of interest. So Jansen hexagon crater. It looks so shallow, but the walls are so very high. So we'll go to that a little bit later. And then right next to it, you can kind of see a little bit of electrification, like a chain. This is almost like those, I think, Herbig Harrow objects that they talk about, like the chain of stars. Some of them look like spiral galaxies with a little core. And it also looks like a musical symbol. Everything is interconnected. If Rick doesn't show up in 15 minutes, I'll ping him on the side. I think he was a bit tired last night. All right. Starlight spectrum rolling on the sky, light, electric ride. All right, a couple of other regions that I really like. Look at this little ridge right here, but you see that it's really part of this much larger piece right here. And this is, look at this pentagon. How crazy is that? I love that I can show you all this correctly, finally. I want to say I'm well rested, but it is early, and humidity is actually shifting. When I first started, it was really, really hot. So hopefully it stays cool for a bit. I would never auto-tune. I'm too elitist for that. Too much of a snob. No, I strongly dislike auto-tune. I feel like it's, yeah, I'm not going to judge it too harshly. I know a lot of people like it, but I don't. So this is Mare Nectaris, Sea of Nectar, and you can clearly see this. Well, let me know if I'm just speculating, but to me it looks like a pentagon within kind of a circular, organic circular shape, and within this, you'll see that you have this trio of craters led by Theophilus at the top, which is what we saw yesterday, but it's also to the left of Theophilus, you got Cyrilius and Katharina creating almost a dumbbell, double lobe, or like connected shape. So what I'm going to do here is just draw that out. Damn, the drift is strong. The drift is strong with him, Captain. All right, so that's correct. MS Paint gets you back. So Theophilus, and then Theophilus, so interestingly, is sort of above Cyrillus, and then Katharina over here. Whoa, whoa, all very wild. So that's pretty neat, that you can see kind of this boundary. And then further, you have, I want to say, this is the one I showed y'all yesterday. Let me confirm the name of it. Fracastorius, right? Yes, Fracastorius. It looks a lot like Sinus iridum. Let's see. Marrying Nick Torres. Closed captioning. That's pretty funny. Oh my god. I've never actually checked closed captioning. It must be hilarious because I always slow down and say these weird Latin, Roman, Greek names. It must be hilarious. Yeah, this isn't T-Pain space. I'm not a fan. Prow says, what is the large dark crater in the upper right that looks like a hexagon? Large dark crater at the upper right. That's Mare Crisium. That's the main one, really, that I point out kind of every time. Let me clear all these markings. We'll check that again. And I'll also get some filters so Mare Crisium can be shown in more contrast. Man, tools are so powerful lately. Once you learn how to do this properly, you can just get any type of shot you want. I also put together a few videos on other playlists of old moon footage, videos from the 50s and 60s and even 30s of moon footage from then. It's amazing, amazing to see. So go through my playlists and on a deep dive, because I've spent many years compiling them. All right, so Mare Crisium, let's scribble on that. This is like really one of the most prominent features. And you can see the hexagonal, I'm not making this up. I've been saying it for months, but really doing it like this is the best way. There's just no way that an impact could create a 650 kilometer wide impact like this. It just doesn't seem logical to me. However, at the same time, I feel like there are good arguments for the fact that the plasma discharge would do something like this, right? From space, or from Mars, or from Earth, right? This is the idea. However, it wouldn't necessarily the way I'm trying to explain it is it's not going to be dry like chiseling away at rock. It's likely that the moon was in some sort of volatile state, and if the plasma discharge connected with this region of the moon that was magnetized, let me see if I can do that. So plus, minus. I mean, I'm completely speculating here, but this is what I imagine is going on. Just like you see the anode in the Sapphire video. So the moon's surface is basically being kind of melted by this electrical charge, and then once the charge dissipates, like gas bubbles. Michael Wives is talking about bubbles. I talk about shells and bubbles all the time. It's like definitely in that idea. So potentially what happens is this boils over, right? And then it kind of all just boom, 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 boom. That arc dissipates, goes that way, and it leaves like little remnants. or it just moves. Maybe it moved towards Proclus over here and then dissipated. A lot of the little craters on the rims of larger craters appear to be that sort of thing. Yeah, let me put the name of that crater for y'all. I'll pick a song too. I'll pick a song, man. Pick a song. Yeah, so, what's up, Michael? Yeah, because True Man Zoo said could be gas bubbles popping. So, I don't know about gas necessarily. It might be like ore or iron. It could be ferric materials. It could be, we don't really know. Maybe it could be lava, basalt. It could be different types of elements. But I think there is lunar rock composition videos. A lot of them actually match. I just don't have them offhand, but they do match a lot of the elements created in the Sapphire project, like sodium and magnesium, iron, I want to say silver, titanium, and a few like that. I wish I kind of remembered them, but I'll practice. Yo, Gemini Libby, long time. So that's Mari Crisium that I was talking about, the really, really prominent hexagon. Yo, what's up, Duplicat? That's why I'd love to see an army of rovers on the moon. So much more samples and data needed. I agree entirely. All right, let me show you this other geometric connection that I find very interesting. So these are super prominent, obviously. Sea of Serenity, Sea of Tranquility. So we got, I'm being lazy here, but Sea of Serenity up top, Sea of Tranquility. And I'm just going to show you by scribbling how this works. So I really feel like there's some sort of electrical nature to this formation. That's as far as I can draw with MS Paint. I don't know why the artboard doesn't let me go any further, but essentially that. And that's Posidonius on the rim. And then at the bottom, you've got Sea of Tranquility like this. And it's got its own kind of angles. Right here is Proclus, and then it goes down. Now, are they hexagons or pentagons? To me, like, it's a little bit tough to tell. At certain angles, it seems like Serenity is a hex, and this is a pentagon, but it does break up. But if you see what's so interesting, I just sort of created a honeycomb or like a compound molecule structure. Ultimately, everything seems recursive, from language and symbols to shapes, geometry, lunar geology. So let's look at some sinuous rills that look like rivers and that look like tendrils and Krauss says, I never gave much thought to the hexagon thing, but isn't it Saturn that has a hexagon pattern at one of the poles? So yeah, the EU thing is really fascinating. I definitely sound like I'm a huge evangelist for Electric Universe, but for me it was finally the correct tool to interpret the world, and it's pacified all my, even though I have a lot of questions still, I can deduce so many theories and ideas that I like by using Electric Universe and this idea of recursive fractalism with all the years of studying all the things that I have, to come to a place where I feel very calm about existence and death and the continuation of that, and mind and matter and connectivity. And so I would definitely urge people who are even curious a little bit to give it like a week. Think about how many things you've given a week that really didn't turn out to be anything. A week of watching Thunderbolt's project and some of the other channels that I list out in my description. I think you get really hooked, and the people that I talk to, like Shockwave Rick, has watched the same kind of videos that I have, like over and over and over, because the content is so rich and empowering. Starlight says, stop deleting the artwork. I feel like I'm kind of ruining the moon by scribbling on it so poorly, but I needed to illustrate a few things. What's happening, Jax? Hey, yeah. So, right, very interesting to me, like, so you have these larger, for me for a while it was like, oh, all these smaller craters are hexagonal and those are electric discharge, but to see Mare or Maria, which is the plural of mares or seas, is fascinating. I mean, these are massive. These are like 1,000-kilometer across shapes with similar features as the smaller craters. So like having Posidonius right over here. Where is it? This one right here. How is Posidonius, this massive one, literally on the edge? It's crazy. Sure, there are intersections, so some of them are not like perfect, like these things right here. Like that was an awful drawing. It's terrible. Terrible. All right, so we're going to look at some sinuous rill shapes. So this is the crater I was talking about. This is Posidonius. Posidonius. It sounds like something like Poseidon, but I'll find that for y'all. Posidonius of Apamea. 135 BCE, was a Greek Stoic philosopher and astronomer. All right, let me drop that in for y'all. Eyepieces. Hi, app. What's happening, Rick? Nice to see you. Welcome, finally. I was just getting ready to ping you, but I figured you might be tired. So, I may as well repeat my findings for the 4th time tonight, but a quick reminder. So, I did a bit of research today on the lunar wave phenomenon. Saturn wave, Jupiter wave, because I felt it was time to give it a proper digest. And so this playlist right here contains 10 plus lunar wave videos that will allow you to, one, see how broad the phenomenon is, two, to debunk the camera hypothesis of it occurring via camera artifact or so-called glitch, two, to eliminate the idea that something like the moon is a hologram or Jupiter or Saturn is a hologram, three, to see that it's nothing to do with airplane trails, because there are videos that show like the turbulence that I was talking about and how lunar waves are completely sharp. Okay, so that being said, at the bottom of the playlist, there are two other videos. One by 2040, says Explaining the Lunar Wave, which is one of the best, I think, hypothesis and video finds. And then the other one is Smarter Everyday Shockwave, Shadows in Ultra Slow Motion. And so the guy in Smarter Everyday, at about 2 minutes, references this artifact that comes after the bullet trail. And I don't think he even explains what it really is, but it looks exactly like the lunar wave. And it's basically an aftershock, a bow shock, but it comes from really breaking the sound barrier. So it's a sonic boom, as Guile once said. What's up, Mississippi Case? Yeah, so check out that playlist. I don't even need to say much more about it, except that, well, I will say more about it. The three possibilities of a sonic boom are supersonic aircraft, and the one thing about that is that, well, it would create maybe a large enough area to cover the moon and, of course, the planets. So possibly supersonic aircraft, possibly meteors or asteroids impacting our ionosphere, atmosphere, and creating a sonic boom. Or three, it's something we don't know, creating these kind of sonic booms like an explosion or rocket test or, yeah. So I take back I'm going to readjust all the titles that say refraction, because it sort of is refraction, but it really is, it seems like the sonic wave thing, sonic boom thing. And maybe I will update the descriptions of the videos and put this playlist out along with a selection of videos. I have some plans to kind of make a video about this, but I wanted y'all to know. Let me know what you think in the chat. True Man Zoo says, of course it's a hologram. More Jello Please says, wake vortex. Well, wake vortex could be a lot of things, but I'm talking about like literally a sonic boom. Breaking the sound barrier specifically causes a double wave, and it looks just like these lunar waves. So they travel the same way, and you can see it corroborated with this Explaining Lunar Wave 2040 video, which shows you the phenomenon caught on camera, and then the Smarter Everyday video shows you the two parallel moving across the camera. But it's interesting, of course, because they're using very high-speed cameras, like specialized film, to capture this, and this is being caught by like P900s and alpha, mirrorless cameras. So there is that kind of reconciliation. I don't know exactly what that is, but that's really what's going on, I think. Sonic boom, exactly. Immediately came to mind. Damn Dalsim. All right. I am bushed as well, but I don't know. I'm excited to do this show, but I'm also tired, so it's weird. But let's do this. All right, so that was my little thing about the wave and sharing that. Let's put back some tunes, and I'm going to get a drink, actually, because I'm parched. Parched. Oh, okay, more jello. Sorry, misunderstood. One. I just want to show you all this thing that I've talked about before, but I've never really been able to show. So, and also say, what's up, CBS? How's it going? All right, so check this thing out. Is that just me? It seems like there's this line. I've always noticed it, and when you see it on the full moon, it just crosses the whole surface of the moon. Right now it's just gone under the Terminator, but I'm trying to see if I can't show it in better contrast. And it's definitely not the Terminator casting a shadow. It's like a little bit like those rays coming off of oh hell yeah, Starlight. I'm happy too. Happy too. Anyway, that's a little bit of a line that I thought existed, that I think exists. It's very faint, but it connects across, you know, this entire surface region. So was it like, you know, an arc gone like that? Moving across the surface. Okay. let's do some zoomed in shots, maybe some pareidolia. Pareidolia. Oh, let's check out this amazing sinuous rill. Alright, this is an amazing feature. Even though I don't need to, I'm just going to sketch on it. Fill in the dots. So, this is one of those features that if you looked up, like, official explanation for lunar sinuous rills, they will tell you that these are volcanic lava tubes. So, a volcanic lava tube needs to have an emanation point, right? Where lava flows, theoretically, and then lava flows and creates a tube that's covered with iron basalt, right? So that's what the official explanation for this object is right here. More jello, that's pretty funny. Right. So Electric Universe says actually, let me just find out the exact length of this for reference, because the longest lava tube on Earth, which is 4 times the size of the moon, is, I want to say, about 11 to maybe 15 kilometers long. So this oil pipeline, I just need to find it. I need to find you. But where are you? It's interesting. It's so neat to have like done so much lunar research and be just scratching the surface, quite literally. All right, so this is Julius Caesar, and what is the sinuous rill called? Rima Ariadaeus. That's pretty sweet. That's 220 kilometers. That was nuts. Okay. So that's Rima Ariadaeus, and the idea is that an electrical discharge from above the planet kind of started zapping the surface at a certain point. And then also, instead of flowing like a river or a lava tube, the electric discharge moved across the surface, basically carving a canal. And then once it left, it moved off that way, leaving a little mouth or this little scar right here. Yo, what's happening? Yanni Santana, how are you? Well, because satellites, CBS says, why are moons called satellites, I assume is what you're asking. It's because essentially that's what the word satellite means, an orbiting booty. Orbiting buddy. Alright, check this out. So this is another sinuous rail that looks like a forked kind of, but this is slightly different, right? So if you look for official explanations of this particular type of feature, they'll tell you that this is like a landslide. So land would appear to kind of push on top of other land and fold. However, the actual kind of outline that's left from this so-called fold, essentially like what plate tectonics are supposed to, or the way plate tectonics are supposed to behave. That's sort of how this is explained. True Manzu says, if I ever do get to observe a star poking through the dark side of the moon, would you consider the moon we observe to possibly be a projection then? I'll tell you, and maybe you didn't hear me when I did it like on maybe the 500th show, but I referenced that like literally I've filmed so many stars going behind the moon. I filmed Venus going behind the moon. I filmed pretty much what was it? Aldebaran several times with a crescent moon, and every single time, there's zero. And I've done it during the day. I've done it where the moon was rising. I've done it where the moon was setting, and there's not a single time that I've seen anything except for like a hot pixel or like an artifact on the screen that actually created that. That being said, there are certain phases where, you know, high peaks of certain craters, even tonight we could probably see some high peaks that float, that look like they're floating in the darkness of the Terminator line. But stars in the see-through portion of the Earthshine, something I've never seen in, let's say, 500 shows plus probably now, or 600 now, and probably 1,000 hours of filming at the very least. So if that would suffice. Now, if I see a star through the translucency, if the moon is translucent, you don't think I'd want to show that? I would definitely show that. But it doesn't seem like that's the case. That's my actual honest thoughts, and hopefully that will suffice. But for me, the geometry on the moon is so much more fascinating. True Manzu says, I'm not saying it happens often, but a royal astronomer has caught Saturn's shadow moving across the moon's surface. I've seen almost all those videos. Unless you have a real reference, I've never seen it. Well, find the video and, I don't know, post it on your channel and link me to it in an email, and I'll definitely take a look at it. But I've looked, and yeah, I'm not actually looking for it. That's not really true. I always do Earthshine pretty much every single show. So it would appear to all of y'all. Let's move around a bit. Starlight and True Manzu both. TakeBackSpace at gmail.com, and just allow a couple of days for me to respond. But if you have any questions or anyone wants to email me, that's the email. It's in the description. And the moon definitely, to me, after 1,000 hours of filming and recording and observing a lot of detail on the moon. I've never seen it once. Not even, I've never seen it once. So to me, that says that 99% the moon is not translucent or a hologram. It would be great if we could move past this, so I'm gonna drop it, but that's my answer. Rick says, Jim Weininger on Skype wants all that data. Sure, I'm going to put together a video and I'll at least have the links for Sunday and I'll share them. But I'm gonna share this playlist again, just for everybody to just save this and share it with your friends, even if you're not going to watch it. If people are interested in lunar wave stuff, this is the compilation without anybody talking. And at the bottom, it's those two videos, Smarter Every Day 2040. And if you look at both of those, like 2 minutes into Smarter Every Day, and then the 8-second video of explaining the lunar wave, it will make sense. Oh, you don't have to be sorry. I don't mean to be snappy. I'm just trying to provide good information. But yeah, if I saw a star through the moon, I would immediately stream. I'd be streaming. You know what I mean? But I don't think that's going to happen, simply because the moon's like a real object to me. Even if it's made of plasma or whatever, it's still an object that we see in this reality. Like, if all reality is a hologram and a simulation, that's a different thing. But to say that, like, Earth is real and people are real and then planets and moons are fake doesn't make sense to me. It's either all fake or it's all, you know, quote unquote real. It's real, Morty. You know what I mean? We're real. But I don't know. Could be a dream. I'm almost, yeah, like, I don't think I've really seen any compelling footage except like jittery, weird, chromatic stuff. Does sound come from the moon? That's a great question. I would think a certain vibration frequency does come from the moon because we're tidally locked and the moon really does have an effect on Earth with its radiation. Basically, it's converting solar radiation into lunar radiation and reflecting it back on us in different ways, not even reflecting like a mirror, but induction. Sorry, True Man Zoo, I'm not accusing you of being a certain way. That's just what I imagine when I get those questions about, is the moon see-through? I assume it's part of the moon's a hologram idea. But if I'm not correct, then that's fine. Yo, what's happening, Jim Jones? We're all mad here. We're all mad here. Alright, time for a tune change. I'm gonna pick up the vibe. Let's get some rock and roll going. Where's my rock and roll playlist? Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Almost 10 o'clock. I'm going to check out Nibiru, Jupiter, and then we'll check out some Saturn as well, and Antares. I'll be away from the keyboard for a couple of seconds, but I'll be right back.
Covers any else but you. Feel what you feel, you got to know when to speak. Better believe me, this is what you seek. Love what you know, you got to learn how not to fall. Better believe it, want to tell you all. Think what you want, but I can't listen to the news. Better believe me, soon we cannot lose. Oh, bleed, how we bleed, you got to know just when to heal. Better believe me, this is why we're real. Know what you don't, and know just know when not to call. Better believe it, will it tell us all? Think what you want, and don't just listen to the news. Better believe it, still we cannot lose. Out of the way, it's full of fools. But it's not my kind of love, little girl. Out of the way, it's full of fools. And I'm inside out, I'm outside out. Out of the way, it's full of fools. Can't be tried by anybody. It's part of the way we cool the fools. But I'm outside out, I'm outside out. That's just the way you steal cool. In literature, eyes make
All right, this is worth talking about because it's astro imaging related. But I think there is a misconception about CG and shots of nebula or planets or moons, etc. And so my opinion on that, and take it for what it's worth, is that while space organizations, government organizations, absolutely 100% do not tell the whole story, nor do they tell you exactly how the technology works. At the same time, it seems to me, just as an astro imager, that you certainly can take the photos that are being shown to us. Yeah, that's it. You certainly can. These shots of Saturn from the Cassini missions, they've got to be real. It looks real to me, and if I'm fooled by it, then it's incredible. Pictures of Earth from the moon using like an ultraviolet telescope also look really legit. Pictures of comets and asteroids, even though you can make renders, CG of them, CG renders, there is an element of realism that you can't really fake. So I gotta say that I think it's a bit of a toss-up when it comes to not believing a single thing that you see when it comes to space agencies. However, at the same time, like a prime example is this Indian rover going to the moon, so that'll be there, the Chandrayaan-2 mission. Tomorrow it's supposed to land. And for example, all the footage, all the reporting, and all the images and all the video coming out of this mission looks like it was made 20 years ago. It's talked about in a really hyped up, really inconsistent, and very aggressive way. There's almost no dialogue. It's very ideologue. The news stories are there, and then all the comments are, I'm just proud of India, which is fine, but there's no real science debate happening about literally the most contemporary current lander that's about to land on the moon in a way that's scientific and relaxed and respectful and logical. And further, there are almost no images real time of this thing about to land on the moon, where you'd think we're in 2019, that you'd have this unbelievable image. I mean, we're looking at Saturn right now from a backyard in a city, and it's like from a staircase of all that. You're literally 2,000 miles away from the moon, and we have to deal with like distorted 3x4 graphics or 16:9 like squashed reports about how, and they keep looping the same CG render. So, you know, it makes perfect sense as to why people get really annoyed with stuff like that, or people are disenfranchised with the space agencies or the narrative. Now, the ISRO mission is not nearly, the NASA renders and stories are not nearly as bad as the ISRO ones. However, it's the same sort of thing. It's like you don't really get any detail. You just get a lot of nationalism and, you know, it's a people story. It's never about like how you're actually getting into space, what are the mission goals, like where are the amazing photos. It's always about some sort of thing that the public has nothing to do with. So being disenchanted and not trusting space agencies is very natural, but completely discounting all space imagery and videos and things right out the gate because space agencies are dishonest doesn't seem the best way to go forward, is the nutshell. So I encourage everybody to take a look at it and try and parse through what you think is real and what you think isn't, because there are certain things that definitely look real. All right, that's my thought. What's up, Tom? What's up, Flat Plain, Oregon? Says, if we only see one face of the moon, how can an Earth rise at the horizon be possible? Because the alleged astronauts would have had to look up to see the Earth. So there are a lot of questions that I have about Apollo as well. However, if you look at pictures from Apollo 16 with the UV telescope, it looks legit. It looks like Earth from a distance. It looks like there's a plasma aurora. You can see the ionosphere. You can see stars in the background. And there's almost no way to replicate a shot like that with proper constellations and Earth. I mean, there is, but it looks legit. So forget Apollo 11, which looks really shady. Anyway, I don't know either. I'm just guessing. Starlight says, when I get a chance, scroll up. Let's see, scroll up. I found an image that I'll be sending your way for you to analyze when you have the time. I promise I'm not a believer of the moon being a hologram or translucent. That's perfectly fine. And then quickly, the True Man Zoo says, astronomers stack 100 shots to get the solid object, lol. So it's not different than what's going on right now. So what we're looking at with Saturn is just that Saturn is emitting enough light or it's reflecting enough light, or it's sending enough, it's perturbing the ether and creating induction in the field so that we see it with a single shot. And you see the shutter speed is 1/160, and the signal to noise is 1250. So that's the amount of signal to noise where you get grain and brightness. So what's going on is with Jupiter, Saturn, and the Moon is that they're bright enough to be seen in a single frame. But nebula and other types of objects that are not able to be seen with a single frame, you basically have to take video or like single frames over a long period of time, like a 5-second exposure or 10-second exposure, and then stack all of those to get even a little bit of data. But there are a lot of really cool guys and gals and grandpas and dads and brothers and sisters who do astro imaging. If you check the astro imaging channel, regular people like you and I are doing these stacking. And yes, there is they do have artistic license, so they add colors and palettes, but these objects are, you can basically take pictures of them consistently across state and country and world and time zone. Everybody's able to capture the same thing. Therefore, things like nebula and things like planets are real, are corroborated by the human race. in ways that have nothing to do with space agencies at all. All right. They don't stack them to fake solidity. They just stack them because it's the light that these objects are emitting is very, very low. So when you stack a bunch of them, you can stack the amount of light and see them with our naked eyes. Basically, when you expose a photo, you basically trick the human eye to seeing things it would not necessarily see in our spectrum. You know, so anyway, that's my thoughts. Let's get back to the tunes. And I'm going to get back to the moon because it's going to start setting. And I'm going to start slurring, which means I've been streaming for a while. Yep. Feeling good though. The humidity is balanced. It's not translucent. Our atmosphere is hazy all the time. And if you see it from a perfectly clear sky, it's not translucent, in my opinion. That was loud. All right. Let's see. So this is Jansen. I'm really digging following this crater for a while. This is probably the first year I've really tracked it properly. It's definitely hexagonal. I'm going to answer all the questions in a second. I just want to make note here. Just while I got the opportunity. And we can see some sinuous rails inside it. All right, pause right there. And I usually start with the straightest side. Like there. Whoops, that's not right. There. 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 And granted, there are things on it. So this feature is this crater. That looks like a potato. All right, so that is Jansen crater. Perfect example of hexagonal features on the moon. and I want to just give you the size of that. I think it's something like 160 kilometers, but just want to double check. So Janssen is 191 kilometers across. Just massive. Massive. Actually, it's a good opportunity for me to talk about that. I mentioned it yesterday to Shockwave, but so hologram, I think, is misinterpreted or misrepresented, at least, in whatever the mix between flat Earth and independent research people who think that the moon is a hologram being projected from Antarctica or from a spaceship or from the white, somewhere. Or Area 51, or Colorado Airport from the Blue Horse, the Pale Horse, or from, from Memphis, Egypt, or from the pyramids, wherever they're projecting the moon from, this high-level civilization that's been on Earth forever, the undercover, the deep within roots that basically can fake planets for all the flat earthers and other people who believe that. It's incredible. That concept is very incredible and amazing. However, I think this idea that the moon is real as we are, that means you can touch it and see it, is a lot more exciting, because that side of it, if you allow that there are people and forces that are so much larger than you that can literally fake an entire concept of space for everybody on Earth, then those people, ought to be worshipped, because that's freaking unbelievable. However, I think it's likely that we're just connected to planets and each other, and we see the moon and it's a real thing, and we're floating like these little electrical bubbles inside a refractive, recursive system. And then this idea of the hologram and the holographic universe is not that somebody's projecting using an Epson moon projector from Antarctica with the Nazis, with dinosaur raptor technology, projecting the moon on an Epson moon printer to fool all the flat earthers. It's not like that. Holography means that holistic from the whole, so that if you cut a piece of holographic film and you fire a laser through it, you'll actually see the same image from that original piece of film. And you can keep cutting this film and keep shining a laser through it and basically see the same full image that was on the original piece of film. So all it means, holographic universe and the hologram, is just that things are recursively patterned up and down the magnitude scale. It doesn't mean that somebody's projecting an image of the moon on the sky to trick everybody. There are a lot of other things going on that are tricking people and screwing with people. It's definitely, in my opinion, not a projector system tricking people like the Truman Show. All right, I've been wanting to say that for 4 years, but that's the real sum of it. There's no point in it. It's much more fun to know that the moon is real and that one day people might go there, and that Saturn is real, and that the Earth is real, and people are real. That's much more fun. But yeah, I don't know where I ended up in the chat, but Rick is saying the Earth is not billions of years old. That's a so-called conspiracy that I can get behind. We don't really know the age of the universe. Big Bang is another sort of faith. You have to take it on faith. So for me, I don't know. How old is the universe? That's up for grabs. So there's a lot more fun once you get past that the moon is not a projected hologram or being faked by any sort of civilization that's better or smarter than you. Hee-haw. Thanks, Ellie. What's up, Michael Stark? And that's it. Tunes. So funny. Once in a while, you get the opportunity to put it all in one string. Magnification. Chrome fantastic. You fold your viewers in reverse. I'm driven along, I'm driven along, I'm driven. Yo, I'm serious, like, last few nights, I've just been putting up with a lot of stuff, and I really don't want to deal with this and do this whole kind of moderator banning shit. Please don't push me to that. Everybody who is just basically being testy with one another. I'm not going to name names, just you know who you are. Long paragraphs accusing people of behaving a certain way and basically insisting that people are wrong is just the wrong type of behavior for this chat room. Please take it elsewhere. There are a lot of chat rooms where that is welcome and fun, and it's not what I want to read. So I will ban people very quickly tonight for the first time just because I'm absolutely done with this behavior. So I'm given a few minutes for this to catch up, and I just want to hell yeah in the chat that we're going to be cool, because everybody here is not up to dealing with it, nor am I. Yo, yo. Thanks everybody for the good reaction. I'm gonna move past and respond to Shockwave's request to talk about Herbig Harrow objects. So I'm gonna paste a link here to a visual. This is what we're looking at, or actually we're not looking at a Herbig Harrow. I'm just gonna talk about it. But yeah, the thing that I notice about it besides it being this very interesting plasma event, I think Rick can definitely talk about it a bit more in terms of the plasma, but it feels like there's a representation of this on the moon in terms of chains of craters. So if you look at this image, this Herbig Haro object HH34, they say this is 1,400 light years away near the Orion Nebula. So I don't know if you can really capture it with a homebrew. It's definitely a Hubble shot. However, if you look at the very middle, the kind of chain of, it looks really like a chain of dots, but in fact it's actually probably a sinusoidal wave pattern of stretched plasma, it seems, pinched along this long filament. So what I wanted to try and find is a correlation visually of this chain that you see in the Herbig Haro along the surface of the moon, which could kind of basically say that, you know, these objects are intrinsically and primally electric in nature in terms of pinching plasma or ether or dark matter into matter, radiating it. We see it, and we see all these different events that have shapes that look like other shapes that we know in our lives, and relating that actually ties in, you know, physics to metaphysics and astrology, and also chemistry and biology to electricity, and then astronomy and cosmology to electricity, and explaining the evolution and the modalities of gravity and magnetism. So Orion Nebula, yep, starlight is Messier 42, M42, and that is essentially the stuff that you really see. The center of that is called the trapezium. It's a 4-star cluster, 5-star cluster, and but what's really interesting is you see the kind of the shape of the M42 nebula. The curvature of it almost looks like a mare on the moon. Kind of rotates all the way outwards. It almost looks like a giant version of Sinus Iridum. Oh damn, I should, yeah, I can do that. What was I explaining? I was the Herbig Haro object. Alright, so I'm going to scout it while I draw. Oh, I still have this hexagon up from earlier. Alright, so the Herbig Haro object is a much larger plasma event, but to a degree there's this kind of like chain that recedes, you know, and then there's like curvature of plasma and curvature over here. But this is not really related to the moon necessarily, but maybe. But this, so this kind of chain of plasma is I've seen it on the moon in terms of like a chain of craters, but I'm just blanking as to exactly which one it is. So what I'd like to do is try and find that after I clear the screen. Clickety click, clickety click. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Michael Wise says, interesting watching interviews of NASA's airbrushers admitting to deceiving the public. So yeah, like there is definitely a level of deceit going on and conspiracy, if you will, in terms of like what's really going on with imagery, and like why don't we get much more data from the big telescopes? Like the looking at videos today from 1930, like 33 and then 1950s, the images of Saturn from Mount Wilson were unbelievable. So that was like maybe 80 years ago. I feel like the large telescopes like Subaru, Keck, Hubble, et cetera, et cetera. And they do take some photos of Jupiter and Saturn here and there, but can you imagine like the data if you were running it the way I do TakeBackSpace, for example, every night, like checking a new object or checking the moon phase from Hubble, or checking a transit of something, or checking Neptune. Man, like there's such limited data. So it is kind of a bummer. I wonder why that is the case. And what else? What's going on? Seeing Dow. The Taoists. Well, I'm at Cleveland, and shout outs Cleveland. And looking at the half moon, there's a star to the left of it. That is Jupiter. So I'll be able to go and show you Jupiter shortly. Like I said, guys and gals, I'm not picking out any particular people. I'm just saying I noticed some tension and I want to just release it early so that it doesn't get to a point. Antares is right, is underneath the moon and Jupiter. Excuse me. Damn. Peace and love, seeing. Man, I'm a little throaty tonight, but for those of y'all who are just joining, I wanted to share this playlist of the lunar wave phenomenon. So this playlist, I'll talk about Lucifer. It's changed its name though, because the press release was so bad. They changed it to the Large Binocular Telescope. It is amazing. I've talked about it. It's like the scope capability is out of control. Sorry, I just spaced on it. So that link is essentially 10 lunar waves, the phenomenon, followed by a couple of videos that I think actually sort of explain the wave pretty well. Actually, that's not true. It's 2 videos that represent the wave in a circumstance that is controlled. So essentially, a blast wave or a sonic boom creates a double wave. So it's a sonic effect, which could be supersonic aircraft, meteors or asteroids, or something else, basically creating like a sonic boom. But those 2 videos at the bottom, the Smarter Every Day in 2040, if you look at them and then look at all the lunar waves videos above that and the Saturn and Jupiter wave, you'll see that there's a lot of correlation between those events. What they are, likely aftershock, or bow shock in the torsion mechanics of a sonic boom. Does that sound jargony enough? I don't know. It sounds something like that in my head. But the Smarter Every Day, about the 2-minute mark, you see what looks almost exactly like the lunar wave motion and 2 parallel, but also diagonal wave fronts that trail the bullet, and it's uncanny. I was seeing, I got a pretty nice scope. This is actually this is the original OG 8-inch telescope that I started TakeBackSpace with. But I got the 11, it's on the front porch. I don't move it very often because it's pretty hefty. But if you want to support the channel, I always encourage people to check out the lunar tunes on Bandcamp and or iTunes, Amazon, etc. The links are in the description. I have 3 albums up and tons of tunes on TakeBackSpace.bandcamp. I can post that. Stop saying I will stop saying You can go stream those. I'm sure there's a track that you might like. Drop me $1 or $2 or none. Or tell me you hate it. But yeah, I'll be posting more music there, and I play live music after the full moon, if y'all are new. So let me know if you want me to talk a bit more about the Vatican scope, but not much because you can't see a lot of data from it. They did share like 1 or 2 deep sky objects, and it looked unfreaking believable. So thanks CBS. Baby was dancing to it earlier. That's awesome. I'll play something shortly. Shockwave says, if a double layer is being deformed by a solar pressure, it would look like it's a shockwave. I mean, I have to trust a shockwave. Yeah, I just mean like, so far, in terms of what it looks like, those are the 2 videos that come closest. So definitely not sure it is that, but insofar as it being airplane trails or a camera, I feel like it's completely, definitely not those things. It could be supersonic jets, but insofar as like 747s or regular aircraft, I don't think you can create a sonic boom from those types of aircraft, and you certainly can't get this type of diffraction from airplane trails. And the other thing is you certainly see with these lunar wave videos that people move the camera and the wave goes across the moon regardless of what the camera does. So it has nothing to do with the camera, and it would be nice to just debunk that and move past it. But I see so many videos trying to debunk the lunar wave by recreating the lunar wave with like shaking their camera, and it's really terrible. So hopefully that clears it up a little bit. Solar pressure is about 150,000 mph. Neil Patrick Steve Harris from Iron Maiden. All right. Loopy, you can tell when it starts getting humid, when I start making silly jokes. Let's play some Light of the Moon and zoom in on some interesting features, and I'll scribble.
The light
Kimbo Khan says, I know nothing about telescopes, but I follow Crow. Saturn Wave seems a similar thing. Can I ask, can whatever digital equipment recording lens be 100% ruled out? I can guarantee that for you, my man. I know you probably just showed up, but I'm gonna give you this playlist real quick. I compiled this today, finally. Took me forever, but this playlist has 10 or 11 lunar waves by different people on different cameras from different parts of the world. And there are some where the camera moves and you can still see the wave. And so it's gotta be, it's definitely nothing to do with the camera, 100%. And further than that, I think it can, regular aircraft can also be ruled out. If you look up lunar wave, you'll see a lot of aircraft trails, and they don't look anything like the 10 videos that are in this playlist. And at the end of the playlist, you'll see 2 other videos, Smarter Every Day, right after Crow. There's Crow lunar wave film during eclipse, historic. Underneath that, shockwave shadows in ultra slow motion at the 2-minute mark, and then explaining lunar wave by 2040. Look at those 2 things and let me know what you think. That's for everybody. And I'll play this track back because I like this one. For some interesting features. I'll head over to Jupiter in a moment. We've been at the moon for a while, but I do like it. Such great clarity tonight. Love this area on Mare Marginis and Undarum. Get a bit of fringing, redshift because of the sunlight and basically the diffraction as it approaches the horizon. Likely because we're seeing it through different densities in the atmosphere. And the angle also causes it to shift. What is this? What is this? It's not what I was going for. A bit of moon chant. Yo, what's going on, Genghis Khan? Kimmy says, am I on a mountain or something? to have such a long shot of the moon. It's about to set, but it's, if you check out Florida moon, you'll see. All right, let's take a look at Jupiter. That'll be good. But definitely so many like electric, intrinsically electric patterning. You can see it with the kind of, it almost looks like a snaking channels. Some of them are embedded under the regolith, and others look like this tube right over here. So in fact, actually before I go, now I remember I was gonna try and relate a Herbig Harrow object, and I'm wondering if it's visible at this phase, is really what I was thinking. Because I know I've seen an object that does look like that. It's essentially like a cut rail, but also with like a spherical chain going. Yo, what's going on, Jen Perry? How are ya? All right, so this is near the Apennine mountain range. You can see a little, check this out. This is a little bit of pareidolia. Let me sketch out a little bit of landscape and some features. I'm not suggesting these are alien. I'm just having some fun with pareidolia, which is patterns that we see in nature, and we attribute actual shapes to them and actual objects to them. So let me see if I can draw some stuff here. So this is like mammoth tusk. I'm doing such a job. Little mammoth head, mammoth skull. And then got some little houses, little watchtower. This mountain's really cool. We got some snaking channels over here. Nice tower, tooth. And look at this shadow from this object up here. Tracing back all the way. Ooh. Damn, that doesn't cut it. Clackety clack. Let me put this track. So the waviness right now is definitely the atmosphere. I'm in Florida. The hurricane is pushing lots of weather, but even the humidity can create this kind of rippling. This is very low, very close to us atmospherics. The lunar wave is a totally different thing. Yo, what up, Beat Airspace? Winter is coming. I love this Posidonius right here.
But I got nothing real to say for myself. But babe, I'm not sorry. I keep on pulling you back from the edge, but I got nothing to say or defend myself. I'm sorry. Oh man, I'm not really sorry. I keep on pulling myself back from the edge, but I got nothing to say for myself. But I'm sorry. Oh
Sorry, I was just chowing down. I found some cake. That's what happens. All right. I want to comment on the glass and the black goo or the green goo. I'll find the link for that. Chinese rover. I think there's two different things. Chinese forever goo. So funny. Chinese restaurants. China claims its moon rover found a colorful gel-like substance. Here's an article. And then moon glass is a little bit different. No, that's not right. That is definitely not right. Hey, I agreed with you, Jen, but yeah, so it's gel, not goo, and I can't find the moon glass thing, but I did see that somewhere. I'll have to find it. The joy of finding and shoving your face with cake really makes a moon stream all the better. All right. Also, I don't like this new live control room thing on YouTube. They've made the interface just pretty lame. I don't know if any of y'all stream, but I like the old way. Running into the 3-hour mark here. Moon's about to set. I still feel like I can do a bit longer, so let's go another 30. Definitely want to go back to Saturn, try the 3X. Jupiter is also going to set because right next to the moon. Throw on some old jams. Good night, Jimbo. Good night, Kimberly. Take care of both. Catch you soon.
casino, out of the 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 casino. Flip it for the edge, flip it for the one, flip it for the edge, flip it for the one, flip it for the edge, flip it for the one, flip it for the edge, flip it for the one. Child just got it down downstairs. Seven times from the main room of the chair. Telltale tales from room downstairs. Seven times from the main room up there. Casinos on the room downstairs. Out of the casino, out of the casino. 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 Flip it for the edge, flip it for the world. Flip it for the edge, flip it for the world. Flip it for the edge, flip it for the world. Flip it for the edge, flip it for the world. How did you know me? 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 How You're my friend now, that's our code of arms. It's the end, so let's just play the odds. You're my friend now, that's our code of arms. Simple up to the end, you know, babe. Where your friends at, take it in the arms.
Pupils. I think I'm gonna wind it up. One more track, and I'm gonna go and make some real dinner after all this cake. Want to say what's up to Space Jones. Welcome. Feel free to ask any questions. Also check out the description of this video and all the streams for like gear and music links, and also links to other Electric Universe channels and curated engineers and scientists from Thunderbolts Project. So that's for everybody. Also check out the playlists. I'll post a couple more for y'all. That was the best of that I've been adding to and working on. I finally went back and updated the playlist gallery. So there are a bunch more, like I'm trying to group them by planets and also events. Sorry, I'm choking on this piece of cake. I'm trying to talk, but every word is like, excuse me. So anyway, Moon and Jupiter are set. Got a little bit of Saturn, but even that is getting a lot of haze. It seems like the weather is finally changing. So rolling in here to Friday, 15 minutes away, 13 minutes away. I want to just give a shout out to everybody in the chat. Cognitive Dissonance, Happy Honey Big Bear, and Space Jones, welcome. Ellie Wynn, as always. Prow, as always. I think there were a couple of trolls. Thanks for coming. Starlight Spectrum, my baby Saturn. Starlight Spectrum. We'll do some chat room songs around the full moon. Duplicate. Ow. Keep rocking those comments. Thanks for hanging out as always. Miguel, take care, amigo. Hope all is well with you. Jen Perry was out. And Tom Buddas, take care. Always nice to have you. Fresh 75, good to see you. Who else? I'm scrolling. There's Kimmy and True Man Zoo. And I know Rick was here. I'll be on the show with the guys on Sunday. So if you want to hear me throw in some ideas with the electric view, subscribe to that channel and tune in. It might not be live, but it might be actually like, I think 1 or 2 p.m. on Sunday. So I'll be joining those guys once in a while, or every time, we'll see, depending on what time I got it. Damn. All right, now I finally got over my cake. That's all I got to the top of the chat. Yo, Chico from Mexico. Yo. And Happy Honey Big Bear and more Jello. Let me know if I missed you. It was a fun one tonight. A couple more reminders. Check out the Sapphire project update. Check out the playlist. Oh, I was going to post some playlists for y'all. Give me 1 second. So, okay, so just finding this again. Thanks, Ellie. All right, this is the lunar wave compilation for anybody who's interested. So the point tonight was just like to make sure that we had some tools to understand the lunar wave, Saturn and Jupiter wave a little bit better. And that was the playlist for that. And I think you can basically go to the dashboard of the channel and you'll see home, videos, playlists. Just click on playlists and you'll see a whole bunch of different things. One is this is liked videos, and I'm pretty ruthless about the curation there, although I do give out likes to my EU peoples, but it's all very quality. And then other waves, that's what I just pasted for y'all. Lab craters, I'm populating. And then there's this one called Current Moon Commentary Pop Sci. And this is really interesting stuff. It's a bunch of pop sci links, popular science. Just a strange representation of our space program. It makes a lot of sense why people question it. Let's see what else I can provide. Let's do the Sapphire project, and then I'll get my butt out of here. This one's amazing. And yeah, thanks again, everybody. I'll catch y'all real soon. Tomorrow, hopefully. It might be cloudy tomorrow, but definitely the day after. All right, my peeps, be well. I'm going to find a song to take us out to. This one's good. All right. It's been really good. I got to send out a lot of love, a lot of good thoughts, and if you can help, you got to help. But mostly, we just got to be pushing forward and helping to establish kindness and respect among everybody, no matter the viewpoint. Stay electric, stay wise, and stay kind. I'm out.